Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Speak On It. And the trio is back. It's been a minute since all three of us have been together. Um, as me and Tamar did on the last one, we're not gonna get into how long it's been. So let's just get right into it, man. Tamar, you and I, the Michigan fans, and we finally, got over the hump, won the Big Ten. And then like Michigan again
And then
in college
lay the
football
egg.
playoffs. we look like our old selves. So, um, what did you? How did you feel? Did you even watch the game? 'Cause I know I did.
I did. I caught when I first turned it on. It was like 14-3, and I was like, okay, this is better than what I expected, but we're still in the first quarter. And I mean, it. I was talking to somebody, and I was like, man, when it comes to Alabama and Georgia, it's almost like the SEC and Clemson at one point was like tiers above people. And it looks like that same way this year. I mean, like Utah beat Ohio State in the didn't they? No, Ohio State won, right?
Ohio State, they came
Ohio
back.
State won, but
They were getting smoked. They were getting smoked that one.
say that again. My internet had you, or I
Oh, I
was.
know. I said they came back and won, but they were getting smoked that one. Ohio State,
Yeah,
Utah
yeah.
was beaten pretty bad at one point. I didn't think they were going to come back. Go ahead.
But I mean, it is what it is. Alabama and Georgia were the best two teams coming in, and
When I look at stuff
Michigan
like,
is third.
I just think of like Michigan, a big name. But this is how I look at stuff like how many players are going to go to the NFL off of that team. And when I look at that Michigan squad, y'all probably got three first rounders that's going to go in the first round. Yeah, I mean, one of them is super raw. Yeah, I mean, David. But when I look at that Georgia team, I'm like, they got the best linebacker in the nation. They got the best defensive tackle in the nation.
Yeah.
They got, I mean, my man Nolan Smith who going to go to the NFL. I mean, they got wide receiver gonna go to the NFL. Like they got the two safeties that's gonna go to the NFL. They got two corners that's gonna go to the NFL. So I'm like based off what Tamon said, like Georgia, Bama, LSU at this height, they're gonna churn out NFL talent. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to be at your best on any given night to be able to beat one of those teams. Unless they play another SEC team, you got to be at your best to be able to beat one of those teams. And let's just be real. A year ago, we thought Harbaugh was done. Like we thought Harbaugh was gonna get fired beginning of this year. They gave him another year. Yeah, I mean, and it was a Cinderella story. Like he turned it around to the point where like my man might get another contract. Like they got NFL teams looking at him right now. Unless somebody we're gonna talk about later on, but like that talent in Georgia was just too much for Michigan, and that's just how the SEC football is. You know what I mean, in college football is king. You know what I mean, down south. So SEC, Georgia, they was gonna be too much for Michigan. You know what I mean, no matter what. Plus, they was hell big.
One of the things that stuck out to me was the I mean, it's the trenches is where it's won at, in my opinion, when it comes to college football. I mean, football in general, but like the talent that they have in the trenches on the offensive line and the defensive line as well shows itself. And I heard Deion Sanders say, even about his squad, that his skill players he feel like can play on Sundays. It's just a matter of recruiting the trenches. It's the inside. And I watching that game, Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage all the way through and through. And they had the speed on the back end to cover everything. And you can compete with the speed a little bit because some people can get out of position, whatever can happen. But up in them trenches, you can't fake that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's mano a mano, and it really looked like grown men versus young men. But go
Even
ahead,
with
Bill.
Aiden Hutchinson, like you said, Aiden Hutchinson probably gonna be the number 1 pick in the draft.
But he can't win it by himself.
Like David Ajobi, the other boy who raw, he gonna be he probably gonna be a top 10 pick. But like you said, can't compete with that's 2 people. You can't compete with a offensive line that's gonna probably put 3 or 4 of them in the NFL.
Yeah, it's still levels, and Alabama and Georgia continue to be the AAA level where everybody else seems to be fighting in double A and single A. Just being real. You know what I mean? And that in a year where it felt like Georgia was just gonna be dominant and just was gonna run through everybody except for Alabama. It turned out to be exactly what we all thought it was gonna be anyway. You know, I think college football is almost getting to the point where Nick Saban is turning into Geno. You know what I mean? Like he's just dominating college football to the point where he he's not even making it's making it not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun. It isn't. Like it's boring. It's boring. No, you know Alabama's gonna be there. Like you knew even when they were winning games close, you were like, oh my gosh, they don't even look that good. You were still in the back of your mind saying to yourself, that's still Alabama though. The tide is eventually gonna start rolling. And boom, they show themselves right back again and against an SEC championship. Cincinnati.
Hold on, real quick. I want to touch on the Alabama, John, real quick. Like you said, like Alabama, it used to be like they're gonna have a monster defense, offensive line, and they was gonna run you to death. Now it's like they churning out first-round quarterback after first-round quarterback, first-round wide receiver after first-round wide receiver, and it's like the offense is actually caught up to the defense and surpassed it, but the defense is still really good. So like you said, man, you can't. It's gonna take a once in a lifetime generational type player to actually beat Nick Saban, like a Trevor Lawrence or like a Deshaun Watson, man. Like if you ain't got one of those, and the crazy thing is, he's getting those type of those quarterbacks now. So it's gonna take like everything to go right to beat Bama and Nick, in my opinion, that later on, man.
They first group of 5 to make it to the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Given the team that they were playing on the stage that they were playing, I thought they handled themselves well. You know, I didn't think that they looked like they were just completely matched. I thought the stage at the time they looked the stage too big for them at times. But I thought they handled themselves well, and you know, I hope that this isn't the end of Super Fives, and I hope that encourages the committee to expand. Honestly, to give more teams an opportunity. So,
I think the best thing that happened to college football was that, and was Cincinnati actually holding its own. Like if we being real, the reason Bama actually beat Cincinnati is based off of the fact that I think that what Cincinnati should have done. Like Bama was going for it 4th downs. They was going for it in 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Like they were not punting the ball. Cincinnati should have actually done that. Like nobody picked y'all to be in a bowl game. Like nobody even gave y'all a chance, right? So when you're here, bro, I would have went for it. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care what the down the distance would have been. I don't care if that joint was 4th and 28, man. I'm going for that joint because, like, y'all already expect Bama to blow us out anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm going for it 4th, and if I get smoked, I wasn't expected to be here anyway. And really, the only reason that I'm here is because Ohio State lost, because Oklahoma lost, and I'm undefeated. Like that's really why I'm here. It's because a couple of the Power 5 schools, they just lost. if I didn't like if Notre Dame didn't have that L on their loss, they probably in there and not Cincinnati. If both of them went undefeated, Notre Dame's in there, Cincinnati's not. So if I was Cincinnati, bro, I would have went for it on every possession, and I think they actually probably would have had a better shot in the game if they did that way.
I love. I mean, I like the underdog story, and you know what I mean. For them to run the table, like I was in the back of my mind, like hoping that they went undefeated, so that way it gives the committee something to look at, and it won't just be two SEC teams, a Big 12 and a Big 10 champion. I mean, I like the fact that they won, and like you said, they held their own in that game. They just didn't. They were too conservative when it came to trying. It was like they were trying not to get blown out rather than winning the game. And I think that that's something that they can build on the future. And I mean, if they can run a table again, then the committee, I mean, they don't have an argument unless you have like 3 undefeated Power 5 champions. Then that's when you get to the point to where if Alabama loses a game, Georgia's undefeated, and you got USC goes undefeated and wins the Pac-10 or Pac-12, and Michigan goes undefeated, wins the Big 10, then you're going to have a situation to where, okay, what's the argument now? This team is undefeated. They were in the, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question. Go ahead. What you can
He said, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Tamar. You can finish.
No, I was done. I was done.
Oh, you okay? With Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12, should they still be considered a Power 5?
You said the Oklahoma what?
With Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12, still be considered a Power 5?
I think off of history, just off history, that's what they're going to be considered it. But I mean, they still got Oklahoma State in there, right? Who actually, I think they won the Big 12, right? They still got Iowa State in there.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Who they got Baylor in there, who was ranked number 8.
But then comes the argument of who do you put in replace of that? What conference would you?
You already you right now you have a
the American. Right? The American.
Right now you have a 4 anyway, so who cares about having a 5th? Right.
So this is why the playoffs need to happen. This is why the expanded playoffs need to happen.
This is why This is why I think this is the beginning of the super conference. Like you're going to probably see the Big 12 and the Pac-12 say, "Hey guys,
we got to get something going."
They really don't respect either one of us separate. How about they respect us if we come together? Like I'm just saying, like they're gonna have to do something because every year we expect Oregon or USC to run the table in the Pac-12 and represent, and they run in the hurdles.
Oregon had the biggest shot,
and then
with them beating Ohio State.
So, and then USC, they made the splash. They got the coach right.
Yeah,
They should be able to get there. But until then, nobody respects the Pac-12 as a football conference.
USC getting Lincoln Riley to me. How is that? What makes USC better than Oklahoma?
Oklahoma's going to the SEC. That's what makes
I get that they go to the SEC, but also to me, I think with going to the SEC, I think comes SEC talent. No. You get exposed. You're not going to get SEC talent because you're still going to have to. Your recruiting isn't going to change. I think here's what I think.
Because you're going to now you put yourself in a position where you have to compete with those guys too. Now Nick Saban's on you. Like, oh, I can bring Texas guys to the SEC because Texas is in the SEC now. You've opened that door when you join the SEC.
I just think with SC, right? It's Southern Cal. It's a big It's a big college, so I think athletes are going to actually want to go play in in USC. But they also know that now that they're in the SEC, they're going to play. They're going to play those primetime games. They're going to play against those primetime schools. So I think that is actually going to help USC, in my opinion. I still think that people are still going to go to Bama's. They're still going to go to, but the teams that the Bama's not.
Oklahoma and Texas is going to the SEC. USC staying in the Pac-12.
Right. Okay.
So USC, I think Lincoln made that decision.
I'm thinking about Oklahoma. That's right. My bad.
He don't want to go to the SEC.
Yeah.
It's easier to compete in the Pac-12. You're not going to have really any competition in Southern California. You know what I mean? And now you're known as the quarterback whisperer. So now you're going to get those Northern California quarterbacks. You're going to get them to come to
I forgot. When I said Lincoln and I'm thinking about Oklahoma, I was thinking about USC.
Texas, to me, Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC is, especially Texas. You had your own network. They couldn't compete in the Big 12. and again, you've opened the door to LSU, who's already a neighboring state anyway. Now you can say, hey, if you're going to go to Texas to play in the SEC, they're not going to win in the SEC. Come to us. At least we're going to win in the same conference. Before, you couldn't say that because they could win in the Big 12. Now, I think you're going to have to compete with them on that level. I can see Texas and Oklahoma regretting this. The checks are going to be fat, but they're going to be regretting this.
Honestly, that's Oklahoma maybe, but I think Texas can possibly compete and steal some of the people in the pipeline at LSU. I think Texas roster right now is better than LSU's.
I mean, I do. I think that for Texas and the SEC, I mean, pretty much along the lines with Dom, because facilities sell a kid as well, and Texas has good facilities. So if you have some of those recruits that are thinking if they want to stay in the SEC, and they're thinking about Texas, they take a visit. You never know what could happen in that. In turn, it can improve because, I mean, Texas is supposed to be a football state. They have great facilities. And I'm not going to say not too much history, but they have some history to the point to where, I mean, I think it could be very well, especially with like Texas A&M moving over there as well, and it's worked out pretty okay for them. They're going to have. They knew that they were going to have to compete anyway with the Bamas and whatnot. So why not do that?
You think it's working out for Texas A&M?
Listen, this is what I'm saying.
They've been competitive. They went to bowl games
and they compete.
And each year they play Alabama. It's what could happen?
Didn't they beat Bama this year?
Was it them? Was it them or Mississippi State? I know it was one of those colors.
It doesn't matter. One's playing for the national championship, and the other.
I get it.
We don't know what
that was their bowl game.
We don't know what.
But this is what I'll say about Texas and Texas A&M. I think when we think about the big name quarterbacks, a lot of the big name quarterbacks they come from that Texas state, and now they play in. And now that they're going to be able to play in the SEC, I think that's going to sway some of the big name quarterbacks to actually stay in Texas.
Yeah. But why would I stay in Texas again? You haven't shown me a winning brand in a worse conference. And now you're going to the best conference. And now the teams within that best conference that have richer histories, a Tennessee that's trying to rebuild. We're acting like Florida is not still in the SEC. South Carolina is still in the SEC. Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, LSU. Those are the teams now that you are competing with, and you have invited them into your home state, into your recruiting base, because you're in their conference.
But you're going to have to figure out a way to recruit a lot of that SEC talent that you wouldn't have been able to when you're in the Big 12.
and
That's what's going to have to happen in order for it to work.
Because I think when you hear SEC, when kids hear that SEC, oh, that's what I want to go play for that conference. I want to go play for SEC, the SEC team. SEC is king. So I think that with Texas, and I think that this is what they're thinking also, when they join the SEC, we're going to get SEC money, and we're also going to get SEC talent. Because again, like I said, with Texas, they known for putting out quarterbacks. Now I can stay in state, I can stay home and play in the big conference. So I think Texas is gonna get some big time recruits. Even with some of them offensive linemen, I think they're gonna get. I think now I think people still want to go to Georgia. People gonna still want to go to Bama, but I also think with Texas going there, people gonna actually want to stay home.
We shall see. I'm hoping the best for him. I'm hoping the best for him.
Well, since you brought up Texas, what's going on with that star in Dallas?
Listen, for me,
isn't that what they do?
I think ain't nothing going wrong. Ain't nothing going on. It's perfect for me.
It's perfect for you?
Perfect.
Well, I know you're an Eagles fan, but I mean, just I try to transition to the NFL.
I just think okay. So if I'm taking my Eagles bias out, right?
Do you think they have a legit shot at winning the Super Bowl?
No. I don't think they have a legit shot. But talent wise, I think just on paper, talent wise, they are the most talented team probably in the NFC.
So why can't they?
This is Dallas. I mean, if we're being real, right? Because they've been talented. They've been talented for years.
I'm tired of saying it. That's why I'm not agreeing with that anymore. They're not as
you can't agree to that.
Do it. For me, honestly, it depends on the matchup.
Yeah.
It really depends on who it is that they are gonna play. I know it don't matter where they play because they suck at home too. So that really don't matter to them. So it really depends. Can they beat Green Bay? Yeah, I can see them. I can see them beating Green Bay. You know,
in Green Bay,
anywhere, man. Well, Aaron Rodgers. First of all, Aaron Rodgers is for some odd reason he's going to have a stinker in game. Dallas could just be the right recipe one day. You never know. You know what I mean? I just don't see where they're that much worse than anybody else in the NFC.
Listen,
nobody's been consistent.
I get it, but Dallas. When you said matchups, I don't see a matchup where you say, okay, Dallas can possibly. They just got smacked by the Cardinals with backups. Like they had backups on defense, and they shut that high-power offense down. So that, to me, I don't think that's a good matchup. The Rams, I definitely don't think that's a good matchup.
Maybe Tampa. We keep using words like high-power offense. I don't think the offense is that high-powered. See, I can't. Like people. I don't feed into the narrative.
I would disagree with that.
Huh? You would disagree with? They can't run the football. You can't have an explosive offense when you can't run the football. Do they have talented guys on the outside? Absolutely, but you can't run the football. And you got two pretty decent running backs. You struggle running the football majority of the time. You can't say that offense and they can't control the ball.
I think they like to go outside a lot. And I think they go outside a little too much.
Oh, so now he's not getting his touches again.
I'm just saying that's what I see. Like Dak is always throwing the ball. Dak is always throwing the ball, and I'm like, yo, y'all got a supposed all-pro back there, and then Tony Pollard is the slouch. Like
Listen.
this team should be better than what it is.
Listen, Dak making $75 million this year, bro. You better throw this ball.
But the defense is overrated, man. The defense is overrated.
I do think that's why I said I think Dallas is. I think Dallas is like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type. Like they have one week they look explosive, 56 on Washington football team, and then the next week
scrubs.
Next week the next week you getting beat by backup scrubs in Arizona. Like
no, they were better scrubs. They were better. Scrubs.
Yeah, they were better. They were better scrubs. They were better scrubs.
And they were better coach scrubs.
I just think with Dallas, man. I think Mike McCarthy is an issue. I think he is an issue. But they had Jason Garrett too. So maybe how much of it is playing in that uniform and having those expectations. Maybe those players just can't compete with those expectations.
I think the NFC as a whole is really up for grabs, and I really think like I'm saying that because I feel like the number one seed, the Packers, they are a very good football team. However, we've seen that they can get beat in Green Bay, and you got to go through Green Bay. So then you got to go with what team can win on the road. And a few of the teams that's in the playoff everybody except for our wild card spot, which is the 49ers, is up for grabs. Everybody else is in there. The Eagles can win on the road. You know what I mean? The Rams can win on the road. The Buccaneers can win on the road. You got Tom Brady. We got to see what Cardinals team is playing in the playoffs. But if you have all their weapons and they play anything like they played in the beginning of the year, like it's so up for grabs for me when it comes to the NFC.
Well, I agree with you. I agree that this year is like no other, where I feel as though that I would not be surprised if at any Super Bowl outcome. I wouldn't be surprised at any Super Bowl outcome. Like even in the AFC, if the Bengals play the Cardinals, I wouldn't be surprised. Like
because it literally is like who is getting hot. Like
this year's crazy.
There's no juggernauts. There are no juggernauts.
I agree, but that's why I'm gonna say this: if that King come back, which I'm hearing he is, that may be scary for the
who the King?
King Henry.
Derek. Oh yeah, because they got the number one seed without him.
Number one seed, he getting rested.
That'll be.
And they say he coming back.
That'll be tough.
So yeah, the NFL right now, man, it's crazy.
Titans, I feel like they can be beat in Tennessee in the playoffs.
I agree,
man.
But I also think that they can go beat anybody in anywhere.
I think the Chiefs can beat them there. I think the Bengals could actually give them a run for their money in Tennessee.
But they beaten Kansas City this year.
That's Buffalo, I thought it was really going to be like Buffalo and maybe like I ain't gonna say off the wall team, but I really thought Buffalo was going to be the number one seed, have their way going to the. But
everybody having a crazy year this year. Like even Pat Mahomes was like.
That's not one I'm not counting out, bro.
I get it. I get it. Listen, I'm with you. I'm not counting anybody out, but I just think anybody this year. Like, would you be shocked if New England was the 7th seed and the Chiefs were the 2 seed and New England beat Pat? I wouldn't be shocked.
In Kansas City,
I don't care where Bill Belichick plays.
I would.
I don't care where he at.
This year, I would.
I wouldn't be shocked.
But I could see that happening though. But I wouldn't like. Yeah.
But that's what's wrong with the Bills.
What's that?
Belichick. You can't get that mental hurdle is too much to get over. Like just when you think you've arrived, they seen what he did last year with that team. Everybody else was fooled. You talking about it's over with Bill. And I'm looking at him like, man, do you see what he just did? He just won 7 games with a COVID team. because everybody was gone because they
Everybody on
didn't. Yeah, they was gone. They was what
majority of the
and
defense.
then, yes, and so the Bills seen that, and they said, "Man, he's still the guy. He's still the guy. New England, you still got to go. The playoffs are still gonna go. You're still gonna have to go through New England."
Here's what's crazy with the Bills. We know what Bill gonna do, right? He going bracket. He going who did what Tampa do to him last year? They bracketed Tyreek and they bracketed Travis. And they said you gotta beat us a different way. And that's what Bill gonna do. Like they don't have a second wide receiver that they can go to. So I'm like, I would not. I just wouldn't be shocked, man. Like any outcome this year, I wouldn't be shocked. I think that any team that makes it to the playoffs can beat anybody, with the exception of if the Las Vegas Raiders make it. I don't think they can. I don't think they can beat anybody. Anybody.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping the Chargers make it because
listen, I'm hoping. Listen, y'all know my secondary squad. Just let Lamar in, man. Let Lamar in. If they let Lamar in,
I don't want to make it.
Let Lamar in. Listen, you want. Now, listen. Since we brought that up,
there's a lot of scenarios that have to happen in order for that to happen.
Which they all can happen.
We need helter skelter.
Yeah,
it can happen.
It can
happen.
Yeah, the way this season is going, anything's possible.
Yeah,
a lot is out of your control.
Yeah, first we got to win. First of all,
I agree. So. Do you think you think y'all just need a different voice?
Who's y'all?
I know we've been saying it. Lamar. I'm gonna get to you tomorrow. But do you think y'all need a different voice? Because what I've seen this year, I think he's cost y'all more games this year than I've seen in a while.
Well, them Harbaugh got
it tough. Tough one. This is a tough one. This is a tough year for him because he can fall back on the number of injuries, from training camp. So it's tough to evaluate him on that. So many 1-point losses, going for it on 2 points, and everybody might have the goat kicker. So, things like that.
I do think it's tough.
It's tough. It's tough on him. Like he knew, we've got to win every game.
Yeah,
we've got to win. We've got to win every game because Cincinnati wasn't going anywhere.
I think
Harbaugh should switch.
Honestly, that would probably work for both guys.
It definitely probably would work for both. I think somebody has to go on that staff, and the obvious person is going to be Greg Roman. But I think I agree with you with Harbaugh because y'all had so many injuries, and if Lamar don't get injured, I think y'all in the playoffs. Like even with his injuries, y'all was fighting for the number 1 seed.
Exactly. So it's hard to say they fired that guy after the team for the majority of the year was overachieving.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say fire a guy when the majority of the year you were overachieving. So
yeah,
at
one point y'all was in number 1 seed, right?
Exactly. We were at one point we were I think 8-4.
Yeah.
At the top of the conference.
Then Lamar got injured.
Lamar gets injured. How you gonna? I can't say fire that man.
Yeah,
I can't say it.
But I do think I do think Lamar has outgrown Greg Roman's system.
But see, this is why you wait. This is why you don't wait too long to fire people. Because if you fire him a couple of years ago, you're not in this situation where now you got to hold on to him because he did achieve something that you didn't see coming. Like if we won 3 games right now, he's gone. But nobody would have been surprised we won 3 games because of all of the injuries. But he actually did a good job. So it's tough. It's tough to say. But if you had fired him a couple of years ago, now you put yourself in a position where it's gonna look bad firing him. So this is really tough. Really, really tough on him. But his brother is rumored to be going to the Raiders.
I got two.
I laughed. I laughed, and then I hurrayed for joy with joy that he's gonna. I hope he takes the job. Get out of Ann Arbor. This was fool's gold this year. This was fool's gold this year. I mean, this does not in any way erase the past 6 seasons for me. It doesn't. You're not gonna overachieve. You're not gonna overachieve and beat down programs. Wisconsin down, Ohio State, everybody else was down, and you were able to take advantage of that situation. So it was fool's gold. I'm not buying it. I'd be happy for him. Good luck.
Hey, I've been a supporter of Jim Harbaugh. I mean, frankly, because I liked him as a quarterback a little bit, and I mean he coached my boys to some NFC Championship games. You know what I mean? We went to the Super Bowl, so and then he went from my favorite NFL team to my favorite college team, and needless to say, it's been a rocky road. But I'm gonna rock with him, man. I know he wants to be one of those legendary guys at Michigan that stay for a very long time. And I mean, I'll ride the waves with him. So stay in Michigan, good buddy. Just recruit better.
I think he need to get out of Michigan. I just do. I think this was the perfect year for him.
I don't know who else we go to.
Listen. He can go to.
No, I said who else does Michigan go to?
I don't give a freak. Listen, I'm Jim Harbaugh.
I know you know. You've been fan. I'm thinking of where we're going to go from here.
There's a lot of viable college coaches out there. Like, I still think Tom Herman is a good coach. I do. I thought Texas gave up on him too soon, and then he did some dumb stuff. But I still think he's a good coach. There's a lot of good college football coaches. Jim Harbaugh is a really good NFL coach.
I'm rooting for you, Jimmy.
I think he should go. I think he should cash in. He coming off of that Final Four appearance, cash in, and take that and go. Because listen, he's always going to be under a microscope and mad pressure in Michigan. He's always going to have that. But if we're being real, he just don't got the quarterback to compete. He does it when he get into that Final Four and he playing against them SEC teams or he playing against whoever, he's not going to have a quarterback to compete.
He can't develop one.
I listen. That's why he needs to go somewhere where he ain't got too much development on the quarterback.
He needs to call Andrew Luck.
4 and 5 star quarterback since he's been there.
He needs to call Andrew Luck and find out what was done in his process to get him to Stanford to do what he did, and then just find him another Andrew Luck.
That's what he needs. He just needs to find somebody who plug and play.
He
just needs to find somebody who's going to plug and play, and we good.
Well, speaking of plug and play, one guy that plugged and played for the Buccaneers and just got released. What did y'all take on what happened with Antonio Brown?
I know a lot of people are gonna say he gonna blame it on his mental. But I had this conversation with somebody else the other day, right? If I get fired, I'm a regular person. If I get fired during the work day, I'm not finishing that work day.
You hot too. You throwing that uniform off.
That's all fine and dandy. But there's ways you do that. Because guess what? When you get fired at your job, it's not gonna be on national TV.
Nah.
I got you.
You on the work cameras though.
It might end up on ridiculousness, but it ain't gonna be on live national TV.
But listen, let me ask this question: If it was anybody else outside of Antonio Brown, anybody else who just took their jersey off, because I don't think it wasn't rah-rah or anything like that. He took his jersey off.
Bruh.
He skipped off the field.
I think it was
No,
the way that
not
happened.
gonna downplay. Not gonna downplay that, man. We cannot downplay this. We gotta call a spade a spade. My man, Mike Evans went over to talk to him. He was getting ready to come out of it. It was a spectacle. He was getting ready to come out of it, and he kept it on. Then he came over and talked to him again, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm getting out of here, man." He threw gloves. He threw something else. I can't remember what it was. He threw something else out there. You can't act like he didn't run from one sideline all the way around to the tunnel. Bruh, it was a
he ran to the door. Listen, what's the difference you get fired somebody escort you out, man? Listen, he just took it in his own hands. Listen, when nobody escorting, he said, man, ain't nobody escorting me out
yet, though. He didn't even get fired yet.
He did. He said, listen, Bruce Arians went up to him and said, "You're done in Tampa. You're done in Tampa."
He did.
Again, I need to see that.
He said he did a neck throw.
So we got all of the cameras in this thing, all the cameras in the NFL.
I'm just saying.
We haven't seen one shot of this.
Listen. If my boss said you're fired, I'm out. Like I'm probably gonna take the computer.
So Antonio Brown handled it. He handled that situation completely wrong, bro.
Allegedly,
I'm not saying he was wrong for being mad. He should have been mad. If that happened, he shouldn't have been.
Allegedly, my man was hurt already, right? And he told the coach, and from the text messages he said, like the coach was like, "We're not resting during the playoffs."
Report from Bruce Arians. Did y'all see the press conference? Bruce Arians side of the story? I'm
wondering why the text messages were shown. I get you trying to back yourself up, but that's neither here nor there.
I think Antonio Brown is, and he wanted to let people know, listen, I'm not. It's not just like my mental. And he said, and Antonio Brown, he did apologize for the way he handled it. But if somebody's trying to force me to do something against my will. And then be like,
I understand all of that. I just think that he made the incorrect decision in the way that he went about it. Like,
I don't believe the story.
I just think that he made the wrong decision. I mean, just like in the heat of the moment, I totally understand as a man, if you get fired, you know what I mean? Or you say, I can't work because of this or that. And they be like, all right, well, then you gone then. And it's like, well, wait, what? You know what I mean? You want to take off your uniform and throw it. I totally understand that. But just the Dwayne point, you're in front of all these people, you know what I mean? Like you're a representation of yourself and your brand, and it's already, you know what I mean? Like on thin ice. So like you're adding fuel to the fire. However, it's good for marketing for a couple of days. But at the end of the day, as a man, you made the incorrect decision in going about the way that you did. Like, you could have sat down and just not played, and then my man Bruce Arians would have came over to you, and then we would have had an understanding. But then you on the side, just the way that it looks optic-wise and all of that, and then like the aftermath of you throwing your stuff in the crowd and then lifting your hand, like all of that, you know what I mean?
I just think because we don't have the full video of everything that went down. Only thing we see is Antonio Brown. He is the one that's being highlighted. But if everything went down the way Antonio Brown Sanders went down, and we had all that on camera, I think he has every right to act the way he did. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, we can say as a man, he handled it incorrectly, but we don't know, like, if somebody is in my face trying to treat me like a little kid, one telling me that you got to go, and I'm like, coach, I'm hurt, I can't play, like my ankle is broken, and because I told you that, now you like, you're done, and
I get that.
You're done in Tampa because I'm hurt.
I understood all of that. However,
is that even y'all been
just the aftermath. Like you could have been pissed.
Remarkable. That even sound close to being true.
Say that again.
It sounds like it could have happened to me.
Does that even sound like close to being true? A star receiver, a coach going to a star receiver and saying you're done because you don't want to finish the game that he's already started playing.
To Bruce Arians, is Antonio Brown's that star receiver? Because again, remember he didn't want Antonio Brown to begin with. Only reason he's there is because Tom Brady fought for him.
But he's there now.
But and Bruce Arians has had things in the past where he came at Tom Brady, he's come at other players. So I think that with this coach, Bruce Arians, I don't put it past Bruce Arians. He coming at the GOAT in the media. Nah.
Think about it like this, though. Think about it like
Not
this.
because he refused to go into a game that he was already playing hurt. If you were already playing in the game hurt, that makes no sense to all of a sudden say you're done because you don't want to go back in and finish the game hurt. To me, I don't really care who the coach is or the player is. That makes absolutely no sense to me. You already started the game plan. You played almost 2.5 quarters, and now you're saying I'm done, coach. I can't go back in and finish. Now all of a sudden I'm saying, oh well, you're done with the team. That to me, that just as a coach myself, I can't see another coach saying that to a player that's already giving you everything he's got
Right.
for
Right.
2.5 quarters on a bad ankle. I can't see another.
I can see it with Bruce Arians. I can see it with Bruce Arians. I can see it with Bruce Arians.
This is why I'm saying that even if all of that happened, if he had just sat down, right, and it played out differently, if Bruce Arians felt that way, he would have came over to him or said something. Or if you just sat down and just not went in, of course they're going to have to put somebody in the game. And then it gets handled behind closed doors. And then you come out and say Antonio Brown is no longer with the Buccaneers. It's like, well, what happened? He was playing, and then he explains his side. You know what I mean? Like it looks like, okay, there's some turmoil or something maybe going on other than he was hurt or whatever, to where it may not be all of Antonio Brown's fault. But then when you go with the antics of the taking off the jersey and the pumping up the crowd is really, to me, like, yo, that it's like, which way are you going? Like, is this for attention or what? And that's just my hang up, because it's like it could have went a lot differently to help him out on the back end as far as his reputation going forward, because everybody already has in their head the perception of AB and how he is as far as his spectacle and being all about me and whatnot. You're trying to change that perception. Last year you did well. You was quiet. You did your thing. You caught passes. You won a ring. Now we back. You know what I mean? And you got hurt. But then after this, like, just the aftermath of everything. I'm not saying that he's not entitled to his emotional response. I'm just saying that looking at it from a different perspective, you could have went about it a different way to show the true colors of what actually was said to you if you felt like that was said to you. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, right? I do hear what you're saying. But again, I don't think he was wrong for in the way that he's handled, and again, especially in the emotions of a thing of a game. Because guess what?
That way that he said it. Huh? What if he lied? What if he lied?
I get it, but then we gotta figure that out, because if he's lying, then okay, now he's gonna look crazy.
Bruce Arians
but what if he tells the truth?
But Bruce Arians today said that there was an argument in the locker room at a halftime over targets. They handled that. They go back out. They're playing. They call Antonio's group up, the same package that he's been playing in the whole time. And he say, no, he's not going in. And then there is video of Tom Brady going over to Antonio after he was a little heated, giving him a head nod like, you ready to go? And Antonio saying, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. And then he decides that he's not going to go in. And then after that, Bruce Arians did say that he said, you're done in Tampa. So Bruce Arians did admit that he said, you're done in Tampa. But this was after Antonio Brown refused to go into the game because he wasn't getting the targets that he thinks that he should be getting because he wants his bonuses.
I gotta believe AB.
It's Bruce side to the story.
It's Bruce side.
It's Bruce versus AB, right? But I gotta believe AB because of based off of
there's something in the
he's
middle.
showing me messages.
Hold on, time out, T Martin. You're gonna take the guy that just forges the Vax card?
No. I'm taking the guy that showed me the messages that says that Bruce Arians knew that he was injured. I'm taking the guy that's saying
from December 30th.
Huh?
From December 30th.
Listen. Y'all know y'all play sports, right? So
they knew he was.
Adrenaline when you're in the adrenaline.
There's no denying that he was. That they knew he was injured. But again, bro, he played for a quarter and a half.
Yeah, and then you can re-aggravate something, right? You can re-aggravate
it. Exactly. And again,
and you can try to go.
I cannot see a coach saying to a person that's giving them all on a broken foot already, saying you're done because you don't want to finish the game that you
I can
already
believe it.
played in and gave it your all. I can't see a coach saying that makes absolutely no sense. And again, why would you act like that if that's the case? That looks like a guy throwing a tantrum because he's not getting his way. That's what that looked like to me. That
I
looks
don't
like a
think.
guy that's mad because he's not getting his targets. That's what that looked like. That
But
don't
he
look like
was
a
getting.
guy
That's
that's
what I'm saying.
mad
But he was
because
getting targets. He threw. Listen, in the game before that,
I
he
don't.
threw to him. He threw to him 15 times. Caught 10 passes. He was getting targets.
I don't think we'll ever know the real truth until the documentary
Yeah, I
comes
agree
out
with that.
20 years from now.
I agree with that.
yeah, I don't care. I really don't care how it went. He mishandled. He mishandled it. And when you already have a track record that is not that
Yeah,
great,
that's
that's not
the
how
one.
you handle it.
Yeah,
That's not how you handle it. He could be absolutely 100% right in the situation. He mishandled it.
because you already know how they're
That's
gonna go.
all
You
everybody's
know
going
how
to
they're gonna
remember.
go. You know how they're gonna go.
That's all anybody's going to remember is that Antonio Brown threw off his shoulder pads, threw stuff in the crowd, and then ran off into the sunset.
I just think. I think because it's Antonio Brown. That's why we're saying what we're saying, right? Because again, if it's somebody else and they handle it different,
Nobody
they
else is
handle it
doing
that
that,
way.
Dom. Nobody
I
else
don't
is
got no
doing that.
issue. I just don't
But
have an
nobody
issue
else is
because
doing
again,
that.
we saying that's not you got to handle these things professionally. But when other people aren't handling things professionally, I don't. What makes me what makes me or who or you to say that I got to handle this situation professionally because they're but when they're not handling it in a professional manner, like I'm
Because
just being
you've already established a reputation within the NFL
and
as
and I
they
said
already
that's why
think
we're
that
doing it
you're a
because it's
cancer.
Antonio Brown. But because let Aaron Rodgers act like that, which I believe
Aaron Rodgers is not going to throw off his shoulder pads and throw stuff into the crowd.
I get what
Like
you're saying though.
nobody
but
else
we
is
don't.
doing
But
that.
I'm saying that, but we don't know that.
Nobody else is
We
doing
don't
that.
know that. But we've
We
seen Aaron
do
Rodgers.
know that.
We've
We've
seen
never
Aaron
seen
Rodgers
anybody else
going a
do
crazy
that.
tour this year.
But him
When he's
being,
calling out his
but
organization, he's coming for his
That is not
organization.
the
He told
same.
him he ain't
That is
coming
not
back.
the same as throwing off your shoulder pads in the middle of a game and running off into the field. That is not the same.
I get
That
it,
is
but Aaron Rodgers, listen,
completely different.
it's not the same. But what Aaron Rodgers is doing, to me, what he doing with McAfee and everything like that, just
It's an
blatantly the
asshole
way he's
move.
talking,
I
I think
agree.
that's a little bit more.
wait, what I miss? What'd he do?
He's an asshole. Aaron Rodgers is a jerk. He's a dickhead. There's no
What'd he do
question
with
about it.
McAfee? What'd
But
he do with
his
McAfee?
interview with
The way he
McAfee is like he's just being like
just
Aaron
the
Rodgers is
whole
being real.
organization. The way he's handling the whole organization, you know what I mean, yo-yoing on whether he's leaving and going. He's being Brett Favre all over again to the organization. Let's just keep it real. He is. He's being Brett Favre all over again to the Packers organization.
But he
I
go out
get
there
it.
and
I
perform,
get it.
and being real, he go out there and perform. He quarterback, and if I'm
He's
being
not
real,
throwing his shoulder. And when he don't get his way or something happens on the sideline, he's not throwing his shoulder pads off
I
and
get
throwing stuff into
I
the
get it,
crowd,
man. But
bro.
when he don't get his way right
That's
now,
two different.
he's still
That's
throwing
two
it.
different
Listen,
things,
Aaron Rodgers
man.
is still throwing a temper tantrum. We being real. He's still throwing a temper
He is
tantrum.
throwing temper tantrums. Absolutely. He's mishandled a whole bunch of stuff, but he's never made a spectacle.
But I think that it's because it's Antonio Brown. And again, Antonio Brown is a little crazy. We being real. We seen him do this in Pittsburgh. We seen him do this and for other teams. So that's why we're actually acting like this because it's Antonio Brown and he has a history of doing this. But again, I'm just saying I'm not just gonna castrate him because of the way without knowing the full scope of what actually happened. Because if he's saying this is how Bruce Arians and them handle him on the sideline, I would be mad too.
I'll be mad too. And again, he has every right to be mad. But as a man, as a human, as a woman, whatever you are, you have to learn how to handle yourself when you're in those emotions. And that is not the way you handle yourself in those emotions. You do not
So let me ask y'all
conduct
this
yourself.
question: If he wouldn't have thrown off his jersey and he just walked off the field and just left his helmet and his jersey in the locker room, would he been good?
That'd have been better.
Yep,
That'd have been better, in my
no issue
opinion.
with it. I would have had no issue with it.
Okay.
None at all. Because he was disrespected. If that man came to him and said you're done, he was disrespected. Would have had no issue with him saying, "Oh, really? Okay, no problem. Yeah, you stop. You know what I mean? Y'all have a nice one. Good luck to you." And he walked off. Would have had no issue. But he went way too far.
But the media still would have killed him because he Antonio Brown and he walked off the field.
Absolutely, they would have crucified him. Absolutely, they would have crucified him.
So,
no doubt.
What's you guys' final thoughts on Super Bowl predictions?
Final thoughts on Super Bowl predictions.
College football predictions.
All right, so my Super Bowl, I get a Super Bowl prediction. I get a bowl prediction. My Super Bowl prediction is, I believe, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, Matthew Stafford, and Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs.
Okay.
That's what I think they're gonna go. My bold prediction is the Titans and
the Titans.
The Titans.
Bold.
Okay.
It's gonna be the Titans and Philly.
I like that bold one. I like that bold one. That's a bold one for you. Jeez.
That's a bias. That's what that is. That's we got our first bias alert.
I'm gonna go. I already said I'm gonna go Georgia with the college football. For we're doing objectively. I'm gonna go Buccaneers.
Oh, you get a bias alert too?
Nah, I'm gonna go Buccaneers, and I'm gonna go with the Titans, the Buccaneers and the Titans in the Super Bowl.
All right, if you gave me a bold one.
And a bold one would be the Arizona Cardinals and the Cincinnati Bengals.
So you're gonna pick the team that's in your division, and y'all in the playoffs too?
You gotta make sure his team in division is still the best.
Nah, I mean, I'm keeping it a buck. I know I don't want to play the Buccaneers, and that's what it looks like we're playing. So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I would rather play the Cowboys. I would rather play the Rams.
They just struggle with the Jets. They're beatable. Come on, man.
I think that was a Vegas game, but I don't even want to get into. Vegas is rigging the game, but what you got Super Bowl prediction, Ben?
My Super Bowl prediction. Oh man, I'm a boring guy, man.
You just gonna go number one seed at all? You gonna chalk it up?
No. I'm gonna go New England. I'm gonna go New England, Green Bay.
Oh,
is that your bold joke? That's
my pick for Super Bowl. New England versus Green Bay.
Wow.
My bold is Tennessee and Philly.
Philly?
That gotta be bold because I feel like every other team can make it.
Yeah, like and nobody else would shock me. Philly's really the only team that would shock me because I didn't expect them to be here.
Listen, if Philly make it to, and this is my team, y'all know I'm a Philly fan. If Philly makes it to the Super Bowl, that nobody in their mom outside of Philly is picking them to make it. Like nobody, like everybody else has a legit shot. Like,
yeah. So, but that's our show. Until next time, you know how we get down, man. Peace.